The big day is almost upon us. The Run Happy Travers will be run this Saturday. It's the 149th running of the Travers, and it is a stakes extravaganza throughout the day. 6 grade ones, 7 stakes, graded stakes in total, and just a tremendous 13-race card. The first leg, of course, of the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5, all grade ones. It's going to be the Personal Ensign. And if you're playing the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5, just remember, the only way to play the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5, if you're not in New York State, is to play it through NYRA Bets. Head to NYRABets.com for more information. And for this Saturday, and this Saturday only, if you happen to be the only winner of the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5, a single ticket payout, and you played through NYRA Bets, $1 million is up for grabs. That contest, of course, starts, as we said, in the Personal Ensign. The Grade 1 Personal Ensign, let's be honest, it's a 6-horse field, but it's a grudge match. Abel Tasman and Elate, they did meet in the Breeders' Cup, where Abel Tasman finished second and Elate finished fourth. But this was the race that you want to see the rematch for. The same 1 mile and 8 distance, 1 lap around the Saratoga main track. Abel Tasman and Elate hooked up. Now, Abel Tasman came out the victor in this race by a head. And I will say, she was the best horse in the race. Elate got a sensational trip and a sensational ride. And Abel Tasman moved prematurely and did the dirty work. But I also still think that Abel Tasman should have been disqualified. She clearly fouled Elate and cost her a victory in that race. Now, since that race, Elate has really taken that step forward. She was very, very strong winning our Alabama. She's obviously shown the Saratoga main track is to her liking. She won the Beldame against inferior rivals. She won it easily. Breeders' Cup didn't go as well, but keep in mind that was out at Del Mar. She was shipping out to California, where Abel Tasman's based, even though she barely races there. And then Delaware Park, she comes back at 1.25 miles, maybe a preferred distance, weaker field, but still crushes the field. Now she meets Abel Tasman. Abel Tasman was sensational in winning our Ogden Phipps. She did not run well in her 4-year-old debut in the La Troyenne, but she put that behind her with just a devastatingly easy win in the Ogden Phipps. And if she runs that race, Late's going to have a tough time beating her in this race. But I'm looking for this grudge match between the two. You've got to use Abel Tasman. You've got to use Elate. I kind of favor Elate. It's a little bit sentimental. Claiborne Farms Elate. I'm a big fan of her. Wildcat and Farrell, they're okay. Farrell's the speed, but she's going to have to deal with another speed in this race, and she takes heart. She's not good enough. Wildcat, well, there's been a lot of talk about her, and maybe she'll improve from her U.S. debut in the Shoe V last time, but improve she must, because Elate and Abel Tasman, especially the retirement of Unique Bella, they're the top two in this division. A sensational matchup in a race named for one of the great horses of all time, the undefeated Personal Ensign. The Kettle One Ballerina is the second leg of the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5. It also kicks off a Late Pick 4. We've got 3 of them on Saturday, but this one is guaranteed $1 million. And the Kettle One Ballerina is a very interesting race. Finley's Lucky Charm was impressive winning her prep for this, using the Honorable Miss as a prep for the Ballerina, the way it was meant to be. She sort of controlled on the outside at an honest pace, but not a blistering pace, and she was dominant. Argument could be made, believe it or not, this 5-year-old mare ran the best race of her career, and I think she's in the best form of her career. She's also the controlling speed in this race. Only an idiot would pick against her. Chalk went up for an idiot. I picked against her, but I put her second, and she is much the horse to beat in this race, and she has to be on your NYRA Bets Late Pick 5 tickets. Now, Lewis Bay, Highway Star, and even Karen, they hooked up in the Bed of Roses back at Belmont Park. And Lewis Bay really delivered in this race. Now, we saw the horse that was favored, American Gal, be a complete no-show in here. And after that happened, Lewis Bay somewhat had this field at her mercy. The question with Lewis Bay, who has not run since this race on June 8th for leading trainer Chad Brown, is has she finally put her hanging behind her and she's ready to show the promise that she's hinted at throughout her career? Or was this just a case of beating inferior rivals but beating them easily? I can't answer that. She'll be on my ticket somewhere, but I don't love Lewis Bay in this race because when the chips have been down in tougher fields, she just hasn't really delivered. Marley's Freedom comes in for Bob Baffert, and we're certainly used to Bob Baffert coming to New York, Saratoga, Belmont Park, and being dominant. Marley's Freedom runs back to her race 2 back in the Desert Stormer, and she will win this race. I think she has enough speed that she'll be close to Finley's Lucky Charm, and Bob Baffert is just so tough to beat here. I prefer Marley's Freedom. Still There is an improving horse coming in here. 3 for 3 in dirt races, all easy wins. Big step up for her, but she's a price horse that has a chance, a very fun running of the Kettle One Ballerina. Leg 2 of the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5, but it also kicks off the $1 million guaranteed Late Pick 4. The third leg of the sequence, It's the Forego, and this is an excellent running the Forego because we've got horses coming from all over the map, including City of Light. And City of Light did something this year in 2018 that other horses haven't been able to do. He beat Accelerate, the mighty Accelerate, who right now is, along with Justify and Diversify, the leading contenders for Horse of the Year. This is his victory, the 7-furlong distance of the Forego in the Malibu to close out his 3-year-old year. An easy win. A good trip, but a very easy win. And he showed his abilities at 7 furlongs, where he's run very well. He came back with a Grade 1 triple bend, where he actually rated and got that done. He draws a very comfortable outside post. And there's not a lot of speed in here, and he's going to be in a very good spot dictating the outside as trainer Michael McCarthy ships him in, and I think City of Light is very much the one to beat in this race. We've got other horses like Limousine Liberal and Whitmore, who duked it out in the Belmont Sprint. To me, Limousine Liberal ran much the better of the race, and of the two, I would prefer him. Awesome Slew and No Dozing hooked up earlier in the meet. Awesome Slew did not run well, and he's victimized by pace near again. No Dozing did run well. If he can repeat that race for Arnaud Delacour, he can win this race. And then there's CZ Rocket. CZ Rocket for Al Stahl broke his maiden up in Saratoga September 1st, and less than a year later, he's running in the Grade 1 Forego. This is his performance last time in the Kelly's Landing, and no doubt this is the best race of his career. He was ridden fairly hard by Sean Bridgemahan, but he really buried this field late and left Warriors Club in his wake. And Warriors Club is back here, and he's a very talented performer. This is a big class test for CZ Rocket, who has not run a grade stake other than Malibu at Santa Anita, where he got dusted by City of Light. But he's improved since then, and a return to that Kelly's Landing, and he's a player. For me, I want City of Light, CZ Rocket, and a little Limousine Liberal, but it's another Forego where a lot of horses have a chance. The fourth leg of this sequence, it's the Sword Dancer. They're going 1.5 miles, 3 turns, 1.5 laps around the Saratoga inner turf course, and this race is an absolute war. Let's head down to the Manhattan and take a look at a number of performances coming out of that race. The first 3 finishers, Spring Quality, Sadler's Joy, High Happy, back of the pack. You've got Channel Maker, who was completely buried in traffic in there. And this is an interesting group. I would never leave Sadler's Joy out. Spring Quality, I guess he could win, and he's shown he can win 1 3/8 miles against Lesser, so the 1.5 miles may not be a problem for him. I don't like that he was scratched out of the Arlington Million a couple weeks. I'm glad that he's running here for Grand Motion. He's not impossible, but he's going to be a much shorter price, and he won this race at 18-1. High Happy, the question with High Happy is whether or not he couldn't handle the soft turf last time or if he's tailing off. He's been terrific in his other races, and he can win this race, but so can a lot of horses. You can't leave Sadler's Joy out, who's looking to win his second straight Sword Dancer. He is very dangerous. He is very much on my tickets. I'm sticking with Channel Maker, though. This is a horse that's been improving, and he's had trips in his races. He was buried in the Manhattan and should have won the Manhattan. He handled the soft turf in the Bowling Green last time. I still think he's going to be a fair price in here. He has won at 1.5 miles, and for Bill Mott, I like Channel Maker in this spot. But I don't discount the chance of Funtastic as well, who's 2 for 2 since being stretched out in distance for trainer Chad Brown. 1.5 miles at Belmont, against albeit inferior rivals, but a wire-to-wire win at 23-1 last time in United Nations. Now there's more speed in this race. He's going to have to rate, so he won't have the run of the race, but he's not completely impossible. At the end of the day, there are a lot of horses that can win the Sword Dancer. You're going to have to make decisions in other races because the Sword Dancer and the Run Happy Travers are races you're going to want to have a lot of coverage because they are competitive races. Onwards and upwards, the 149th running of the Travers, the Run Happy Travers. Want to let people know? A 10% trifecta bonus if they play through NYRA bets and you play on the app only and you want to play through that app, I play through it all day long. Head to NYRAbets.com for more information. Let's take a look at the field. 11 horses lining up for the Run Happy Travers. Chad Brown holds a very strong hand in this race. He's got speed. He's got a closer. Good Magic. Second in the Kentucky Derby, ran very well, went fourth in the Preakness, and he came back and showed he's no worse for the wear when he lined up in the Haskell down at Monmouth Park. We'll head down to Monmouth Park and take a look at that Haskell. The Haskell featured a rematch between Bravazzo and Good Magic. Good Magic was dominant. I don't think Bravazzo ran that badly, and for a horse that ran all 3 Triple Crown races, he's no worse for the wear, and he's got a dangerous trainer in Wayne Lucas who won this race a few years ago with Will Take Charge. Good Magic, he was dominant. He was a winner every step of the way. For people that say he can't go at 1.25 miles, come on. His second place finish Kentucky Derby was excellent. He chased Justify. He ran terrific there. Is he better at 1.8 miles than 1.25 miles? That's very possible. And there's a lot of speed in this race. So Good Magic is a horse that's going to have to be able to find his rhythm, not move too soon, and hold off closers at 1.25 miles. So there are questions about Good Magic, but he is the favorite, and he's the most accomplished and talented horse in this race. Then there's Gronkowski, the other horse for trainer Chad Brown. He is a very good other horse for Chad Brown. Now, we're going to take a look at his start in the Belmont. He broke a little slowly, maybe a half to three-quarters slow. He didn't break way behind the field. What he was sluggish. The other horses badly outran him. And with the speed, and there's more speed in this Travers, he is going to have to not drop back as suddenly. Even with a fast pace, you don't want to leave yourself with too much to do. Chad Brown's had a lot of time with him. He's training very well. Got a sensational ride by Jose Ortiz, who rides Good Magic. Joel Rosario has the ride on Gronkowski, but Joel is a terrific big race rider and a terrific rider all around. He couldn't beat Justified, but he beat everybody else, and he is a horse that can only improve since then. He's working well, and 1.25 miles may hit him right between the eyes. What about the filly Wonder Godot? What do you do with her in this race for trainer Mark Casse? Obviously, 1.25 miles works very well for her because we'll show her winning up at Woodbine, the Queen's Plate. It was synthetic, but she's handled the dirt very well. So the distance works in her favor. Now, she beat nobody last time out in the slop in the Prince of Wales. This is a totally different ballgame. I love that Mark Casse's taking a shot in here. And the truth is, the way Eskimo Kisses ran the Alabama last week, she might not have won that race anyway. And if she had won that race, she might have meant she was the horse to beat in this Travers. I feel like she's going to be a bit of an underlay, but I don't think she's impossible in here. To be honest with you, I think 7 horses could win this race. At least 6 of them could win quite easily in here, and Wonder Godot is one of them. Would she be in my tickets? Probably in a B to C level, but somewhere on my tickets. How about the prep we had up here at Saratoga, the Jim Dandy, which we ran just about a month ago? Tenfold was a dominant winner of this race. He was on the pace, and he got the job done. He also had some antics, which he has in the Travers. He's not winning the Travers. He'll duck out in the stretch. But I thought he ran very, very well in here, and he's a horse who can improve for a trainer, Steve Asman, who gets his horses, especially his dirt riders, to improve. But he's got to improve. He must run much faster and much more professionally to win this race. What do you do with Vino Rosso? Vino Rosso took himself out of the race, made a little run, took himself out again, and sort of ran when the race was over. The thing with Vino Rosso is, and Todd Fletcher talked about it, there was still some moisture in the track. There's not going to be any moisture in the track on Travers Day. The weather will be spectacular. He's a horse that may prefer a fast track. And if this race and the pace gets hot, Vino Rosso is one of the very few horses with the talent to come running late. And I would not completely dismiss Vino Rosso, a horse I went into the race thinking I didn't like at all. And after looking at this race for quite a while, I think is a major, major player in here. Then there's Catholic Boy. What do you do with Catholic Boy? He ran very well at 1.1 miles at Aqueduct on the dirt. He didn't run terribly in his preps to the Triple Crown. He ran badly in the Florida Derby, but he ran just fine in the Sam Davis. He can handle the dirt, and he's come alive on the turf. He's going to love 1.25 miles. He draws a good outside post where he won't get caught up in the kickback, which could hurt turf horses. He's a dangerous horse, but he's also a horse that could be somewhat forwardly placed, which may not help him. It's a very, very interesting Travers. Even Mendelssohn is in here, though I don't know what you do with him at this point. A wild race. Gronkowski's going to be on my tickets. Vino Rosso's going to be on my tickets. Good Magic is going to be on my tickets. You're going to want to have as many horses on your tickets in the Run Happy Travers as you can. It is a sensational race, and it closes out the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5. And that NYRA Bets Late Pick 5, if you are the only winner of the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5 and you played it through NYRA Bets, you are guaranteed a minimum payout of $1 million. Also, you want to know where you can catch pretty much all of the action on the Travers Day card. Well, here it is. Saratoga Live, 1 to 4 p.m. on MSG Plus, FS2, Fox Sports San Diego, Fox Sports Prime Ticket, Altitude Sports from 2 to 4 if you're out in Colorado in the Denver area. NBC will be covering the big races from 4 to 6. 5 hours of live coverage of a sensational Travers Day card. You won't want to miss it, and you will not want to miss out on the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5.